Welcome back to the Macro Golf podcast. So today we're talking about how you can get better at golf without even hitting a golf ball, without doing anything golf related. Well, maybe a little bit of the golf club. We might sneak a little bit of that in, but definitely not hitting a golf ball. So we're moving into winter here in the UK. It's cold, it's miserable. No one wants to do anything. No one wants to go outside. No one wants to step on a golf course. Maybe the time's a little bit constrained, losing daylight hours, all these things. So today we're going to give you a real big list of things that you can take away from today and start to improve your game without hitting a single golf ball. We're going to talk about mental, we're going to talk a little bit about practice, we're going to talk about physical, we're going to talk about improving routines and everything you can do to get better. So lads, who wants to kick us off?
Jack, this was your idea. Do you want to
start?
This
was Jack's idea.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I like this is because I see it so often, right? I see it, and I was like, I'm struggling to get to the range at the moment. I'm struggling to, daylight hours are short. My range doesn't have floodlights, and there's no ranges around me. It's like that doesn't mean we can't be progressing, right? Is the thing I always try to make sure I point out is we can still be moving forward in those sort of scenarios. For me, I feel like it's understanding what maybe that player needs. So are they lacking in, I would say almost most golfers are lacking in this, but like the mental department. So having some sort of clarity on how they think and having some processes on how they think. Are they trying to maybe ingrain something to do with golf swing? So are they trying to make a technical change without hitting golf balls? That can sound quite difficult, I know. Or are they trying to do something maybe more physical? Are they trying to get stronger? Again, that's where it comes into the gym side of things. Like if you're doing correct training, which is programmed for you, that can really push you along towards your goals. So again, there's so many different things that can actually push you there. It's just the different forms of how we do it, right? So obviously, some of the clients we work with, you see this a lot. So we spoke about this guy last time, but there's a guy on oil rigs who we coach, and he's away for 4 weeks and back for 4 weeks. So he's playing in those 4 weeks. He's back, and he's literally not touching a golf. Well, he's touching a golf club. Not really.
Yeah,
like
it doesn't have a head on
stick.
it.
Stick. Yeah. And so it weighs like a golf club, but then a towel, and that's literally it. And what he does in those 4 weeks is he builds so much ability for when he comes back that he actually plays fantastic golf. And it's been a really strong, successful method of coaching, right? Like we found, surprised us, like we said, it's a big change, but like that sort of builds in a little bit of confidence of what we're doing and what we're saying about this, right?
Agreed. Yeah, it's almost like a tried and tested method of saying that can work. And actually, on the previous episode, we said a bit about our controversial takes, and Sam had a controversial take about more practice being worse. You had a controversial take about saying that actually 10 minutes of practice was a good thing. I feel like we're maybe tapping a little bit into that in this episode as well, to actually say that you don't have to be at the driving range for an hour beating balls to get better. We've got real life examples of people that have just found 10 minutes to do something without even hitting a golf ball and have significantly not just got better at golf, but actually changed the move quite drastically as well. Right? Actually making swing changes you'd expect would take years to make. Like some swing changes take years to look as different as some of the examples we've seen. And actually within a short amount of time, because there's no consequence and because it's been consistently done, change is pretty drastic change.
You've highlighted on that. There's no consequence, right? Like
correct. Yeah.
When you're trying to make this big fundamental change, having no consequence is actually super powerful. Obviously, we talk a lot about like increasing the consequence when you practice, but like when you're talking about technical change and you're first trying to get the skill acquisition of actually changing a position, having no result at the end of it allows you to commit to the move a lot better. It allows you to, execute on what you're trying to. If you're trying to change something at the top, but you keep not presenting a good club face at the ball, it's going to make you not want to do it, right? So you'd rather learn to do that and then learn to start changing the rate of rotation or whatever it needs to be at the ball at a later point. That's the way to do things. So actually, it can sometimes be a more powerful method than actually hitting balls anyway. Yeah. Like regardless, so like even if you had the option to hit balls, it might still not be the best method anyway. It could still be a better method of doing, this whole hitting of a towel.
You've seen the journey I've gone on. If anyone has seen it on Instagram, whatever, trying to make a change exactly like that. I'm literally at our studio dropping the shutter down and hitting a foam ball into a shutter rather than hitting a golf ball into the range. You could hit as many golf balls onto that range as I wanted. Yeah. But literally pulling the shutter down and hitting a foam ball instead, simply for that reason.
Correct.
Because I know that I wouldn't be able to make the change as well. I don't know if I would make the change. I just don't think I'd make the change.
No, if I'd be too reactive.
I'd be too reactive.
Yeah.
I don't think I could even make the change if I had the outcome.
Yeah, I really struggle to make changes if I see something.
Yeah.
I really struggle.
Yeah.
I might feel it, but like, we're golfers. We want to hit good golf shots.
Yeah.
Like, it's too difficult for the brain to, like, you see something bad, you're like, oh God, like, I just want to.
Especially if you're a busy driving range.
Yeah.
Stop topping it in front of a busy driving range. Everyone can turn around. Like, no, I can play.
What's this? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, I get you. I 100% agree.
No, I've been amazed for my swing recently. And it was just having a conversation with you and watching you hitting foam balls and stuff. How much more quickly I can make changes to my swing without hitting real balls, hitting foam balls, practice swings, swinging a towel, like all this type of stuff, where you can just get a bit more understanding of what you are actually trying to do, and then going out and then hitting a few balls afterwards. It's like, God, I've been trying to do that for however long, and just impossible to do it.
I honestly think if your house is big enough at home, I'm going to say this to everyone, and you're not going to break anything, and you're not going to sue us. Hitting a foam ball into a curtain, like, you can do that at home.
Yeah, you could.
You can easily hit a foam ball off your floor into a curtain, and it won't go anywhere. You go donk, 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 as many times as you want. So put the putting mat away.
Maybe hit it off the putting mat.
Or hit it off the putting mat.
There you go.
Yeah. And I honestly believe you can make a huge change to your golf if
You're looking at technical.
And if you've got constant feedback coming that you are doing that move correctly.
And you know what you're trying to achieve. And there's a reason why you're trying to achieve it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's so many ifs.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just be doing it for the sake of doing it. Like, you can't just be wanting to get laid off because it looks cool.
Yeah.
Right? You want to get laid off because you're trying to maybe present more of a fade. Like, there needs to be a reason of doing it, right? So, obviously I spoke a little bit about towel there, hitting a towel. I feel like I'll make out why I get people to do that. And so towel, smash bag, something heavy that's not going to break your golf club, right? Like that's kind of what we're talking about here. A towel is just a quieter version of a smash bag. That's literally all it is. The reason we make you hit that and not just swing at nothing is because the body braces, the body prepares for impact, and it does a lot of similarities that it would do if there was a golf ball there. So it's just a better way of training the golf swing as opposed to just swinging in midair. If you film a practice swing, this is why, my practice swing felt great. It's like, because your practice swing isn't reacting to anything. There's no ball there. So, you're just swinging at space, but we're always reacting to a target whenever, so our body will always brace, it will stand up, it do whatever it's supposed to do, or whatever it normally do when there's a towel there. If you're going to do this, I would make sure you're doing it with.
Yeah, I feel like you can almost go to the stage of, like, if you had this move without any consequence, you'd probably work on, like, little slow mo, like the pattern. Then when you put a towel or a smash bag in, suddenly there's some speed to it. I feel like when you then put a ball, like the foam balls that within indoors, suddenly then you have to fine strike a little bit. Yeah. So you might see a little bit more standing up, a little bit more of the early extension coming back to try and fine strike. And then when you put an actual ball in, then suddenly you see the remove. It's almost like those stages you can go through, and you almost see the body get closer back to its natural state. It's interesting. So we spoke a lot about technique there. There are so many other pillars we can still work on. We can still work on mental game that you mentioned, and we can work on the physical side as well. So for you, Sam, in the winter, or when people cannot get on the golf course as often or practice as much, how do you change your programming for golfers in the physical side?
Depending on goals and things, typically I'll just do as a kind of generic. Most of my golfers now are working a lot more on strength. So potentially workouts that are a little bit more fatiguing, that have a bit more of a kind of consequence to them that we can actually feel, whereas we're kind of avoiding these workouts in season so they can play and practice as much as possible without any kind of physical repercussions. Generally now we are looking at building up strength again, or maybe not even strength, maybe we are looking at power, like working on their power sources, different things like that, where we've got a bit more time to dedicate to the gym. Our kind of, the way I like to work with clients is that we want to make their training as efficient as possible. So when they can be in the gym, right, we're going to be in the gym, but if they can be practicing or they can be playing, we are going to be doing that. Generally now in the UK, we're not going to be playing golf after work, so we have a lot more time that we can do mobility work, for example, or we can do some more gym work. We can get an extra session in a week, different things like that. So generically, I would say we are looking at building a bit more strength. or power, depending on kind of person to person, goal by goal, I would say.
Do you find that with the colder, darker days, do you find that sometimes the motivation for people to get up and get in the gym and do that changes?
Massively.
And how do you work around that? In the same way that we spoke before about people not having maybe the access to driving range because of the daylight, or they even just like sometimes the way that winter months go, everyone kind of hibernates a little bit earlier and later in the day. Like, how do you work people into more routine winter side for that? What can people do to build those habits?
The first thing we do is everything we do is relating back to goals. So it's like, right, if your goals is X, we say, right, well, you actually are going to have to dedicate X amount of time to achieving that. And if that is gym work is needed, absolutely. Like, I've had some conversations with clients recently of saying, right, they're not finding the motivation to go to the gym. How can we push the needle? Can they do something at home? Can they do something while they're sat down watching Netflix or playing with their kids? Can they do some mobility work or just sitting on the floor? Like, there's all these kind of layers that potentially aren't as optimal as they could be, but they're moving the needle further than doing nothing at all. And that's always going to be kind of the best approach. So a lot will be kind of goal setting, talking more about goals, relating it back to what they want to achieve and why they want to achieve it. Typically then if we can find a reason, a goal big enough, hopefully that provides the motivation for it. Or we will then look at kind of other alternatives to say, right, you're not going to go, you can't get to the gym, what else can we do?
Yeah, I think home workouts this time of year, are actually a little bit underrated. I feel like when it's cold and dark and people don't want to go outside, give them the option to actually be like, you can stay indoors then, it's warm, you comfy, you're already at home, whatever. Giving them an option to do that, I think is a little bit underrated. I think people think that in the winters now's the time to get in the gym. But it is, but sometimes people just don't have that drive. Especially this time of year, like a little bit before Christmas, like having that get up and go.
Yeah.
Get up at 6 a.m. to get into the gym, or go in at 8 o'clock at night and it's round like that. I think sometimes we over emphasise so much on how much it needs to be perfect, and I think we underestimate a little bit on how it can be achieved by that person. I think it's the same for the golf that you mentioned. You'd love them to get down, practice 3-4 times a week with a perfect plan. But if they're actually going to do 10 minutes of good stuff, that's what we need to do. And I think the same with the fitness side.
It's got to start with, is it realistic?
Yeah, and I think that's where we come back to this idea of coaching rather than kind of just telling people what to do. We had a chat a long time ago about ChatGPT and using AI for stuff. I think it comes under the same blanket. Like,
it's not going to help you when you're
like
dark outside.
How
rainy.
do you change that mindset shift of getting it done? Really is the trigger that 100%. I think we tap into. Leads us nicely onto mindset then. So, what can people do for the mental game when they're away from the golf course or not hitting as many golf shots? What can we do to strengthen that side?
So, something I felt quite strongly about sort of over the years and seen a lot of progression. I think in life more people should do this anyway, but just meditating and trying to find a form of meditation that sits right with you, and just trying to get good at it, like trying to actually, like I actually had a client yesterday because he's been getting into meditation. He listens to this, so hello. He got into, and he was starting to do a little bit more, and then he said, well, basically I started trying to meditate and visualizing myself playing a hole and then playing it badly and playing it well. I'm like, okay, how long have you been meditating for? And he's like, only just really sort of restarted again for like 1 or 2 weeks. And I was like, it's quite an advanced way of doing things, right, to start with. I would almost just get good at meditating first, learn to control it and learn to just get into that state of flow first. And just learn that actually, to learn to control the breath, learn to do it in those moments. You can take that when it comes to the summer season and you've got a pressure situation out in between these really high pressure situations. That is what's going to be able to bring you back down. This is something which people just don't highlight enough. Like if you don't do this stuff, you are always going to be at a higher heart rate. You're always going to feel more panicked in those situations. It's always going to be harder when you've got something where you feel a little bit more uncomfortable. It's way easier if you have the skill set to be able to combat that. And to me, meditation is such a good tool for golf. Like it's so underutilized. I feel like if you spoke to most tour pros, the majority, if not nearly all, are meditating. They're doing some form of meditation. They're practicing their breath. They're all doing that. It's all part of their routine. Then they're breathing. Then their breathing works into their routine. It's always sort of embedded into one. And then from there, would almost, once you get good at meditating, then trying to learn to practice visualization alongside that, right? Like is a big thing. I feel we get a lot of our clients that sort of work down that road and you know, progress the mental game at the same rate as the physical game. I think that's one thing people don't do very well in golf. We certainly go a little bit, here's the physical, and then I'll worry about that in like, I don't know,
when I'm
years.
good enough.
When I'm a +4 golfer, I'll worry about that.
Yeah.
Like that's people. It's like, well, you won't get there if you don't get this going with it. Propel together. That's how it works, right? So yeah, I mean, this time of year, that is something I would be hammering. It's good for you anyway, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing.
Well, wouldn't you?
It's absolutely amazing,
You know what I mean?
for you, yeah.
I promise there's no downfall for it. So
No.
you know, it's one of those things.
Spare 5-10 minutes a day,
100%.
and get it done. Well, I feel like we've covered nicely some technical stuff there. I feel like we've covered nicely some physical as a mental. Anything else that people can add into their routines away from hitting a golf ball that's going to help them improve?
How could you look at strategy or stats and stuff if you can't get to the course to help improve, Jack?
So you got several things. If you were doing stats throughout your season where you're playing, you can reflect.
Yep.
So you can go back and you can have a little look and you can start to analyze what's happening, and then that'll help you to plan what needs to be changed and maybe discuss with your coach what needs to be changed. And you can also start to plan where you play these rounds of golf, right? So many people, in my mind, play their home courses blind. They don't actually know what they're doing around them. They just do whatever feels right. Whereas you can start to, map out where we need to go. You can, if for example, the first your course there may be a bunker that often catches you, right? You seem to always be in there, and then you actually, if you you could go onto Google Earth, or you can use what we use, which is shot pattern, and you can almost start to, find where the correct spot should be, where you maybe, there's actually a much bigger spot if I just hit 3-wood off that tee instead of hitting driver, and it becomes a little bit more simplistic as opposed to guessing while you're out there. Yeah. So formulating a plan off the golf course is a great way for when you're actually getting ready to go out there.
Agreed.
But yeah, being prepared to track stats is also something as well. Like preparing, if you're not doing it, get ready for the start of the year, because it does help so much when it comes to this time of year, because then you know exactly what you need to.
I think as well, people could do a little bit of learning. Like they could learn a little bit about like what strokes gains is, or they could learn a little bit about like how you would calculate risk versus reward, how you calculate dispersion and targets and aiming spots and these types of things. You can do a little bit of learning this type of year. You can improve your golf IQ a little bit with some of this stuff. And I feel like that's kind of quite harmless information to absorb. I feel like there's quite a lot of information you might absorb that might change your brain, a lot of things on technical or those types of things, but I feel like that type of knowledge is quite harmless in terms of just education, with a lot of stuff that's kind of scientific really, rather than it is opinion based. So I think if you are someone who doesn't necessarily understand these types of concepts or these types of ideas, or you don't understand like how you would pick the right aiming spot on your course, or maybe they've got par threes, you're not sure where the best spot to aim is, but you've got a pin in a certain location, start to educate yourself a little bit on this stuff to be able to make good decisions in the moment as well.
Yeah, 100%.
As you're playing, I think it's a great thing to do this time of year. Nice. Hopefully that's given you guys some stuff to go away and think about and start to implement. If you're unsure on which area of these areas you feel like you need to put the most work in, you can take our performance scorecard, where it takes around 3 minutes or so to answer a few questions. We'll ask you questions on all different areas of the game, and then you'll get a personalised report at the end of that, talking through which areas you currently are lacking in or which areas you are currently excelling in. And then what we're doing at the moment is we're doing a free off-season plan with that. So when you scroll down to the bottom of that page, it will give you some ideas of what you need to do on all of these areas, and it'll give you some ideas on what you can do to improve each one with just a small amount of time each week. Lads, anything else we need to add for today?
I don't believe so.
No, I just think get ready to do little and often.
Little
get out
often.
there and don't just think golf swing. Like,
No.
move everything together. That's
Just be a bit more present and a bit more aware of what you're trying to work on and why you're trying to work on it.
Correct.
Always have a why.
Yeah.
Right? Always have a why.
Yeah.
Good. Strong
stuff.
idea. See you next week.
See you next week.